Hey guys, April Rogerson, the Contract Slayer, Century 21 Connect Realty. Yay! You've been approved for your loan, and we need to go over some things to get you all set up. First and foremost, if you got about 10, 12, maybe 13 minutes to sit and watch this video, and if you have any questions, definitely write them down. Feel free to text me. I try to be very thorough, but hey, I'm human. So we are going to go over the life of a transaction from beginning to end, and talk about all the things that are very important to your loan and your home purchase. So first and foremost, we are in a very, very competitive market right now. However, don't fret. We will make it through. You will get your house. Just work with me, and patience is necessary. First things first, once we get our offer accepted, once you get your offer accepted, I will send you a text message saying congratulations, we are officially under contract, and all the details that you need to all the details that you need for the first steps of the transaction. First things first is your earnest money. Your earnest money is your good faith effort to the seller that you intend to move forward with your home purchase, and it is usually 1% of the purchase price. So I'll use $100,000 as the barometer for all the things that I discussed today. So you do the math. If it's less than 100,000, which is not going to happen in today's times. However, if it's more than $100,000, then you do the math from there. So if it's a $100,000 home, 1% of the purchase price would be $1,000 earnest money. Your $1,000 earnest money goes towards your transaction. In the end, should everything go smoothly, it is going to be applied to the amount of closing costs that you need at closing. So it's your good faith effort to the seller that you intend to move forward with your purchase, and it is the equivalent of like a security deposit. If everything goes well, you get it back. If everything doesn't go well, you may lose it. We don't want that. So I'm going to go over a couple of contingencies that I put in place in your contract that's going to help you hold on to your earnest money if necessary. So the first thing is your due diligence. Your due diligence is your opportunity to learn that property inside and out, have your inspection, as well as decide whether or not you definitely want to move forward with the purchase, or if we are going to terminate the transaction. Now, you have 7 days on average is usually how long due diligence is. Sometimes it's a little bit less, sometimes it's a little bit longer. It really just depends on the circumstances. But usually I ask for 7 days due diligence. Now, you will get an inspection. I will refer you to 2 inspectors that I work with. They are very good and very thorough. However, you are not beholden to using those inspectors. You are free to use anyone that you please. Just please don't just like go to the yellow pages and go to ABC inspectors. Let it be someone that's reputable, that either you gotten referral from someone else, or again, you're free to use the inspectors that I work with. I do not get anything from those inspectors whatsoever except for quality inspections. So there's no kickbacks, no money changing hands or anything like that. My sole reason for using them is so that we have someone that is responsible, reputable, and trustworthy that is going to complete your inspections, and that is what they are. Now, there is no passing and failing of the inspection. That is your opportunity to learn that home inside and out, and any forthcoming issues that we may have, or any issues that are currently with the property that we will want the seller to address. So for the most part, sellers are fairly reasonable for the most part, and they're open to repairing or replacing any type of items that are compromising and not able to have you live in the home fully and safely. However, there are times where the property may be sold as is, or you just have a seller that says, I'm not doing anything. Either you want this house or you don't. In that instance, we have what's called an amendment to address concerns, where we submit to the seller all of the issues that came on the inspection report that we would like to have addressed. We negotiate back and forth, myself and the listing agent, and obviously the parties to the transaction, and then we come to some type of resolution on what they are going to fix and what they're not going to fix. More often than not, I've had sellers agree to most things that's on the amendment to address concerns. However, again, sometimes it does happen that they're not willing to do anything. In that instance, we have to decide whether or not these these issues are too overwhelming and you want to walk away, or whether or not these issues are issues that you feel confident and comfortable with addressing. Now, once we receive the inspection report, I go over the inspection report with you, and I also walk you through what issues are pressing and what issues are cosmetic or not that big of a deal. And we kind of come to a conclusion from there. If all goes well and we're able to come to resolution, yay, we move on to the next step. However, if we cannot resolve these issues and we cannot get to some type of resolution, then we will terminate, and that is an opportunity for you to get your earnest money back as long as it happens within the 7-day window of your due diligence. Now, if you call me on day 8 and say, you know what, April, I changed my mind, I don't really like this house, I can't get your earnest money back. At that point, we are out of due diligence. That is one contingency that has expired, and the seller may or may not agree to give you back your earnest money. Trust me, we don't want that. So yay, we move forward, everything goes well with the inspection, and we get our issues addressed. We move forward. At that point, this is where we have what is called your financing contingency. Your financing contingency is your opportunity to get everything you need to the lender. This is the point where I hand you off to your lender. I'm not going to stop talking to you or anything like that, but now you are in the hands of the loan officer. The lender is going to ask you for multiple documents. Some of those documents are documents that you may have already submitted, but they're going to need them again, or they're going to need an updated version of those documents. So if you submitted bank statements back in a month ago, they're going to want new bank statements for this current month. Your pay stubs, same thing. So please make sure you get your documents into the lender in a timely fashion. Normally, your financing contingency is anywhere from 18 to 25 days, and the clock starts ticking from the moment we get our offer accepted. So we had 7 days of due diligence, and now that means we are down to about math, right? We're about down to 14 to 18 days of financing contingency. So essentially you have 2 weeks to get this stuff to the lender. So this is the opportunity that the lender has to go through your finances and your credit profile with a fine-tooth comb and really make sure that we are all on the same page about what your finances look like, what your credit looks like, and all of that good stuff, and that you are definitely in position to purchase this property. If for some strange reason you bought a Porsche, a Maserati, and we don't know about it, but now it shows up on your credit profile, if that happens within that 21 to 25 days, we can get your earnest money back. If it happens on day 26, we will not be able to get your earnest money back. So make sure you get those documents in as quickly as you can. If you have any issues with getting those documents or understanding what the lender is asking for, definitely let me know, because I am still available to you. I try to make sure that I check in with you guys at least once a week just to see if you have any questions while we're in that portion of the transaction, because sometimes the lender is speaking a different language from you guys, and I try to marry the two and be the lender whisperer. So again, if you have any questions or things are not quite making sense to you, definitely feel free to reach out and let me know. So yay, we got through due diligence, we got through inspection, we got through financing contingency, and all is well. You did not buy 3 Maseratis or anything crazy like that. Now we are moving on to your appraisal. Your appraisal is ordered by the lender. I don't have anything to do with that. You don't have anything to do with that. And for the most part, we cannot choose who the appraiser is going to be. The appraiser's job is to determine the value of the property. Now, I know sometimes you guys want the appraiser to come in low, but please do not do any type of rain dances or prayers or anything like that for the appraisal to come in low, because usually anything from $5,000 to $7,000 below what our contract price is going to cause a problem. The problem is usually going to be that either the seller is not going to want to reduce the sales price, or they're going to want to take some closing costs away from you, or they're going to want you to come to the table with more money. All not good things from our perspective, because we've already gone under contract and kind of allocated a certain amount of money, I'm sure you did, to what your purchase, what your purchase was going to call, what your home purchase was going to call for. This just kind of throws things off. So we want the home to come in either at value, that means you paid market value for the property, or you want it to come in above value. Yay, you have a little bit of equity. However, if it happens that it comes in low and we cannot resolve it, we have what's called an amendment to reduce the sales price. And we're asking the seller, saying, hey, seller, this appraisal said that it's only worth X, Y, and Z. Will you reduce the price? The seller has the right to either agree to reduce the price or not. And if they don't, we have an opportunity to get your earnest money back due to the appraisal not coming in at the contract price. So those are your 3 different contingencies that you have in place that protects your earnest money, and also gives you opportunities to make sure that, the property is either A, in good working condition via the inspection, B, that your overall credit profile is in good shape for the purchase, and lastly, the appraisal contingency that the property is worth what we have a contract for. So just to go over cost, your cost for your inspection is usually around $350. You pay that directly to the inspector, and then make sure that that money is coming out of your bank account, the account that you're using for the transaction. Next is going to be your appraisal. Again, that's going to be ordered directly from the lender, and you pay the appraiser directly. Again, make sure it's coming out of the account that you are using for the transaction. And then lastly, your closing costs. You're going to get a closing disclosure from the lender that is going to tell you how much your final closing costs are going to be. Earnest money that you deposited will be applied to that. So if it's $1,000 earnest money and you need $5,000 at closing, they're going to subtract that $1,000, and now you only need $4,000 at closing. But when the lender provides that information, you are going to wire your funds to the closing attorney. You'll get a closing disclosure as well as wiring instructions how to wire your funds. You will get wiring instructions only from the closing attorney. Maybe me, I might forward them to you. But if you get wiring instructions from anywhere else, do not send any money. There is a such thing as wiring fraud, and it happens to some people. So we don't want that for you. So make sure that whatever wiring instructions you receive are either from myself, directly from the closing attorney, and that's it. So, and then maybe the lender may forward them to you. But again, those are the only 3 people that you should be accepting wiring instructions from. So yay, you made it to closing. We're gonna see each other again at the closing table. Woo woo woo. Make sure you've already wired your funds. Bring your ID. There is a very good possibility that your final closing numbers may change, because it is sometimes very close to the wire when they're releasing these things to you. So there is a potential for you to have to bring a little bit more money to the closing table, where they ask you to bring your checkbook, or it is possible that you wired a little bit too much money and they will cut you a check. Normally, if you have the resources to do it, I do suggest that you wire around $1,000 over the price over the amount that the closing attorney told you, so that you don't have to worry about writing the check at closing. Most of us do not have checks any longer. And if it just so happens that you wired a little too much, which is probably the case if you did what I suggested, they will just cut you a check right back at closing. You deposit that check, all is well, and you don't have to leave the closing to bring $5 in to go get a $5 check because we're short by $5, which has happened. So if you have the resources, send a little bit over. You will get your money back. And that is it. I hope that was a mouthful. I hope that I answered almost all most questions that you would have for the life of a transaction. I look forward to working with you. And if you have any questions to this video or anything else, please give me a call or send me a text message so that I can answer your question thoroughly. It's April Rogerson. Let's get your house.